Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, you will learn how to improve the security of your WordPress account. The tips that you will learn in this lecture are very easy to implement. They do not require advanced settings, but they are really important. So the first step is never to have an identical username and user display name. The second tip is to use a complex password, and the third one is to grant only the required permissions. Let's go over these settings one by one. So I'm logged in to my user profile page at my WordPress admin dashboard. And as you can clearly see, the username for my website is Yasaf, and the display name, the name that is publicly shown, is also Yasaf. This is a security risk because if I will go ahead and I will publish a comment on my website, let's write this as a comment, and I will publish it, then you can clearly see that the comment has been posted by Yasaf. Now this is only the display name, but an attacker will definitely try to take this name and will try to log into your WordPress site with it. So if the display name and the username are identical, it puts your site at risk because you've already publicly published 50% of the login process, the login credentials to your website. So the best thing to do is to choose a display name that is not equal to your username. In this case, I will simply choose my first name and last name. Of course, you can make it even more complicated. You can choose a username that is not made of anything similar to your username and last name, and only to enter your first and last name in the proper box and choose a publicly display name. That way it will be even more complicated to guess what your username is. So after I've made this change, let's go ahead and update the profile and refresh the public page. And now note that I'm logged in as Yasaf Burshan, which is my display name, not my username. And if I will post another comment, it's been posted as Yasaf Burshan and not as Yasaf. So if an attacker sees this comment, it will be more difficult for him to guess what the username is. Again, if you went for a username which is completely unrelated to your display name, it will be even harder. The second security measure is complex passwords. The more complex your password is, the more difficult it is to hack it or crack it or guess it. Now you must understand that if someone will try to guess your password, he will not actually try to hack it. The most common passwords are ones made of most significant dates, combination of name and pet or family members and so. And this information is usually publicly available on social networks. And we will get to that at the 8th section, where we will talk more about you as the website owner and how your online and offline activity can put your site at risk. But for the purpose of this lecture, just keep in mind that the more complex the password is, the more difficult it is to guess it or to crack it. And if you scroll down at the user profile page to the part that says new password, all you need to do is to click on generate password, and WordPress will automatically generate a strong password for you. Now I know that complex passwords are very hard to remember, and I'm sure that you have many passwords to many online services. Again, I would like to recommend the use of a password manager in the form of LastPass or any other password manager that you prefer the most. We will go over that. We will see in a detailed manner how to set up a LastPass account in the 8th section of this course. Whatever you do, when you do set the password for your WordPress account, make sure that the password indicator bar is on green and it shows strong as your password strength. Don't use anything less than strong. In the next lecture, you will learn how to add an even extra layer of security and set up a one-time password for your account, so that just username and password are not enough to log in. But before we proceed to the next lecture, there is one more security feature and security measure that I would like to discuss in this lecture, and this is the sense of permissions. WordPress supports different roles per users, from a subscriber that can only view content and comment on posts to an administrator that can administrate the entire website. If you have more than just one user on your WordPress site, make sure you grant him only the required permissions. If he needs to publish content, grant him the contributor role. If he needs to edit content, give him the editor permissions. If the user only needs to view content and post comments, give him a subscriber role, and so on. There are detailed articles on each role's permission. Whatever you do, don't grant a user a higher permission, a less restrictive permission than the one he really needs. So that's all for this lecture. And in this lecture, you have learned a few security measures that are easy to implement but will go a long way in securing your WordPress admin account and accounts in general. In the next lecture, you will learn how to add an extra layer of security by requiring a one-time password in order to log into your WordPress account. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next lecture.